also welcome our students. If it's the first time you're joining us, I also want to welcome you. I hope you learned a lot from our speakers today. So at this moment, I'd like to hand over to the moderator, Mr. Adeyinka Babajide, who is going to take us through today's program. Thank you. Mr. Adeyinka, over to you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome us all to the Rome Business School Industry Spotlights. And our topic for today, we'll be talking about the trends in digital transformation process. My name is Adeyinka Babajide. I'm a technical support engineer at Crossover, and it's my pleasure to moderate today's event. So today's event, which brings about talking about the top personalities from prestigious industry and the arts to the Rome Business School, so that our community can hear and learn from it. So I'm excited about today's program. Today we would have a special guest with us of Mr. Gbenga Sodunke and Dr. Olusoji Adewumi, who will be speaking to us today on this topic. So I'm going to start with a brief info about their biographies, and I would like to start up with Dr. Olusoji Adewumi. Dr. Olusoji Adewumi is a lecturer in the University of Lagos, a well-respected educational facilitator and an e-learning consultant. He is known for his revolutionizing work in e-learning for universities and companies. He has had extensive years of experience in ICT and e-learning. Dr. Olusoji Adewumi has for over past 15 years, he has delivered several presentations on IT and data management topics. He has led numerous consulting engagements on business transformation, IT transformation, and change management for clients. He has made presentations on many IT and CT-based lessons and conducted numerous workshops on teaching pedagogies at both local and international conferences. Dr. Olusoji's greatest desire is in helping institutions, teams, and organizations to optimize their potentials. He is an advocate for success through learning. He is passionate about teaching and believes that establishing a good rapport with learners is crucial in helping them build confidence in their ability to achieve goals, both academically and socially. He is an enthusiastic learner, eager to meet challenges. He is an accomplished communicator with excellent interpersonal and influential skills. So I would like to introduce us to Dr. Olusoji Adewumi. Can you please just say hello to the...
Hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So
You're welcome,
our
sir.
next speaker is...
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. Gbenga Sodunke. Mr. Gbenga Sodunke is the Chief Executive Officer of Zunel Technologies. He is a software consultant with over 14 years experience of writing software to automate business process and to solve organizations' operational challenges. He has vast experience in HR technology, fintech, enterprise applications, and management consultancy. He has his first degree in economics and currently has an MBA degree in view at the University of East London. He is also a software development trainer and led faculty of Zunel Academy. located at the heart of Unilag, the CITS, where they are raising next generation of world-class elite tech talents across several tech roles, including front-end developers, back-end developers, quality assurance engineers, UI UX designers, business analysts, projects managers, DevOps engineers, cloud engineers, and digital marketers. He also provides training on machine learning and artificial intelligence skills. As the founder and lead IT consultant of Zinel Technology, he has architected, led the development, and successfully deployed enterprise-level applications, including human resources and outsourcing solutions for organizations in the oil and gas and the human resources industry. Examples are the Venture Garden Group, VGG, Bank of Industry, BOI, amongst many others. Mr. Gbenga is also an angel investor of a rare kind. Rather than invest cash for equity in startup companies, he invests tech teams in startups who help transform a startup idea into a fully functional product. He currently consults for British Council, where he's currently handling a number of projects for the organization. He also has a special interest in artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. So I would like us to please welcome Mr. Gbenga as well. Can you please say hello to the team?
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Gbenga. We're happy to have you also on board. So I would like to give the floor now to Dr. Soji Adeumi to educate us more. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right, I'd like to begin with the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated technological change that's already reshaping how we work. And as the world recovers from the COVID-19 pandemic, emerging technologies and increased automation continue to drive the digitalization of business and has fundamentally changed the way many jobs are carried out. Now, to thrive in this new world, each and every person deserves to have the awareness, the understanding, and the capability to adapt to technological change. Now, before we can proceed, I think we should really try to demystify this keyword, digitalization. So there's a difference between digitization, and digital transformation. Now, digitalization is the move from analog to digital. Before now, businesses kept records on paper, whether handwritten or typed into documents. Business data was analog, completely analog. If you wanted to gather or share information, we have to deal with physical documents. Then computers went mainstream, and most businesses started converting all of those ink on paper records to digital computer files. Now, this is called digitization, the process of converting information from analog to digital. Now, what about digitalization? Digitalization is using digital data to simplify how you work. So, digitalization is not about changing how you do business, but about how you create new types of businesses. It's about keeping on, but in a faster way, in a better way. And it's a way in which you can just do things better instead of being trapped in a file cabinet. So think of a customer service or a call center. Digitalization changed service forever by making customer records easily and quickly retrievable via computer. So the basic methodology of consumer service didn't change, but the process, looking up the relevant data and offering a solution, became much more efficient. Now, and that brings us to the topic of today, which is digital transformation. So this is the way business gets done. And in some cases, it creates entirely new classes of businesses. So digital transformation adds value to every customer interaction. When we're talking about digital transformation, companies are taking a step back and revisiting everything they do, from internal systems to customer interactions, both online and in person. Now, so what are the big questions that companies are asking? And I think I've been able to just bring about 3 basic questions there. Can we change our processes in a way that will enable better decision making? That's number 1. Number 2, can we change our processes in a way that will enable game-changing efficiencies? And number 3, can we change our processes in a way that will enable a better customer experience with more personalization? In other words, digital transformation is taking advantage of available technologies to inform how a business runs. Take, for instance, Netflix. They have the ability to stream video content directly to customers, and in a way, they gain insight into viewing habits and preferences of those customers. So Netflix uses that data to inform everything from the design of its user experience to the development of first-run shows and movies at in-house studios. Now, the world of work has completely changed dramatically since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic period has taught us a lot of things, but here is one major lesson. Tech skills are a virtual necessity. So we need to think differently about how our skills, how we can combine it with new technologies, and most importantly, how we can keep up. But not everyone needs to learn how to code. Our humanity, integrity, and creativity, they are key factors, major factors. So clearly, digital transformation is a big deal. Digital transformation is disrupting industries. Digital transformation is changing the way business is conducted. And at this juncture, I think I need to pause here a little while and talk about the word disruption. If digital transformation is disrupting industries, then what is the disruption about? So digital disruption is the rapid transformational change made possible by digital technologies and the impact they have on existing business practices. So digital disruption changes, it not only changes, it challenges, and in some cases, it threatens the established way of doing businesses. So what do we have? Digital disruption has already happened. It has already happened. For instance, WhatsApp killed BlackBerry Messenger. We are aware about that. We know about that. CDs, compact disc, killed cassettes. YouTube killed DVD. Bluetooth killed infrared. Xender killed Bluetooth. Uber killed yellow cabs. Phone killed post office. SMS killed letter writing. This is digital disruption. Email killed fax. POS is killing ATM machines and queues in the bank at the moment. The internet killed the library. Google killed dictionary. And Wikipedia killed encyclopedia. And you can recall that the world's largest taxi company owns no taxi. That is Uber. The largest accommodation provider owns no real estate. That's Airbnb. The popular media owners create no content. Facebook, they don't create content. People create the content, and they are the largest media owners. The largest software vendors, they do not write apps. Talk about Apple, talk about Google. But of course, it's the repository of wonderful apps. The fastest growing banks, they have no actual money. Society One, you can Google the functionality of Society One. It's the fastest growing bank, but they have no actual money. The largest movie house, they own no cinemas. Netflix, they own no cinema. Before Netflix, people chase movies around in disc. They choose movies to rent by going to stores, and they look through the shelves of tapes and disc in search of something that looks good. So what am I going to watch? And then the movie shops, movie stores, they were selling, they will rent out movies. But now libraries of digital content are served on personal devices, complete with recommendations. So not only are they served on personal devices, there are recommendations on them, there are reviews on them based on user preferences. So you see, streaming subscription-based content directly to people's TV, directly to computers, directly to mobile devices was an obvious disruption to the brick and mortar video rental businesses. And that predicted the death of video rental businesses. So how are business leaders, how can they harness these latest trends in the digital transformation process? How can they harness it? And there are a lot of ways in which they can, but I've just been able to put like 6 different ways in which they can harness these latest trends in the digital transformation process. And the first is social media. Social media. So social media is a new customer service desk. So anyone that is not embracing it, of course, is going to lose out eventually. A host of tools are designed for social service, and it makes it easy to highlight customers' needs, integrate social channels into the service workflow that is being provided. So meeting your customers where they already are is a big part of winning business in our digital world. You must be able to meet your customers where they already are. The old model was to wait for customers to come and find you, whether in person or by calling. But the rise of social media has changed service, much like it has changed advertising, much like it has changed marketing, much like it has changed even sales and customer service. So progressive companies embrace social media as a chance to extend their service offerings by meeting their customers on their platforms of choice. Actually, social media wasn't invented to take the place of call centers, but has become an additional channel and an opportunity to offer better customer service. So another trend that we're going to look at is the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, it has become an imperative for businesses seeking a competitive edge. So the business is actually seeking a competitive edge, and of course they have to embrace, they have to integrate artificial intelligence. Now, the opportunity AI can provide are vast. Companies can leverage the massive amounts of data they possess and process them to provide smarter and quicker solutions. For instance, the use of conversational AI integrated with chatbots, voice recognition software can do so much more. So, of course, artificial intelligence is increasingly being used in the marketing industry too. Artificial intelligence can swiftly deliver complex campaigns. Machine learning capabilities can carry out statistical analysis far quicker than humans can. However, business leaders must understand that artificial intelligence works best in collaboration with human staff, and it has not come to replace employees. Now, the other trend that we can consider is the voice search. The voice search. So there is what we call natural language processing. So voice search, excuse me, is gaining increasing popularity in digital transformation strategies. So with a surge in the use of smart voice assistants like Alexa, like Siri, like Cortana, Google Assistant, voice search has gradually become a part of many people's day-to-day lives. So voice search has become a key component in the smart device industry. Brands must be quick to establish a strategic approach that embraces voice search. So the act of integrating voice search into business operations can provide interactions with end users and boost customer personalization to help businesses gain a competitive edge. If voice search is applied to chatbots, they can improve customer experience by providing support to human agents and solving repetitive customer queries. Introducing voice search can also help increase customer engagement, reduce errors, and lower operational costs. Now, next that we're going to look at is the visual search. Visual search. So it has been integrated also into numerous popular search engines, including Google, Pinterest, Bing, and Snapchat. So visual chat uses AI technology to help people search the use of imagery rather than through text or voice. For example, if a person takes an image, excuse me, if a person takes an image of an object, visual search software can identify the object in the picture and provide information to the user. So, visual search combines computer vision and machine learning technology to allow machines to use or to see rather and interpret what they are seeing before deciding what to do with this information. So this technology called visual search is particularly useful in retail businesses, but may soon expand to other variants such as automobiles, education, and even healthcare. And another trend that we can look at is the chatbots. The chatbots. So chatbots have gained increased popularity due to their efficiency in helping solve repetitive questions. They have gained increased popularity due to their efficiency in also helping to assist human agents and carry out end-to-end transactions. So chatbots allow humans to interact with technology via numerous input methods such as voice, text, or gestures at any time of the day. So while usually being associated with customer service, chatbots can now be used in various roles within enterprises to optimize customer experience and business processes. Now, the data these days are very enormous. So, but with the use of chatbots, it can register this data and it can use them to provide personalized offers and better understand customer habits. Chatbots can also be used in numerous sectors, from healthcare to e-commerce, to telecoms, automobile, travel, finance, and insurance. They're actually an efficient way of improving customer journeys and increasing brand loyalty. So the AI-powered chatbots that answer simple customer inquiries serve as a welcoming presence on your website. So when you have this integrated to your website, end users will have this welcoming presence. So it reduces the time customers have to wait to reach an agent. So when you deploy chatbots to handle level 1 inquiries, it also frees up service personnel to spend time on more sensitive cases. So AI-powered bots can serve as the entry point into intelligent case routing systems. When the customer's query is too complex for the chatbot to handle, natural language processing helps to map the questions to the best available expert to resolve the situation. And we can look at the sixth one that I've provided here, which is the everything as a service. So these continue to dominate in-house solutions. Companies are increasingly looking to cloud-based third-party applications and services to do the work for them, rather than upskilling current employees or hiring from the labor pool. So they just leverage on these third-party cloud-based applications to do the work. So the everything as a service approach promises financial efficiency, improved productivity, more robust cybersecurity, greater agility and flexibility. So asking us is that we should disrupt the way we work to innovate and to co-create. Digital disruption has happened and it will continue to happen. So we need to make most of the technology for learning. This means we need to use technologies more and better. We need to bridge technology gaps to ensure that all businesses, workers, and citizens share the benefits of digital revolution. So, ladies and gentlemen, one thing is certain here. Digital technologies are changing the world of work. We need to harness the full potential of technology. We need to anticipate change, build resilience, and reinvent the way we learn and interact with new technologies. With this, the survival of business enterprise is guaranteed. So, but if the business are not entrenching this, then of course they could become history in no time. So I hope I've been able to just bring some few points to us to really consider on how we can leverage on these technologies to improve what we do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olusoji. Really appreciate the knowledge that you've passed across. All right, so next we'll be hearing from Mr. Gbenga to also learn more about this topic that we are discussing today. Mr. Gbenga, please, you have the floor. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon once again, and I'm glad to be here again. And thank you, Dr. Olusoji, for the presentation, and I would have loved to also touch. All right, so I'm just going to also touch some of the things you has already mentioned, and I'll try and bring in some practical examples to further drive home the point. All right, so
your video sound.
Oh, okay, yes. Sorry about that. All right. So we're talking about trends in digital transformation process. So before I go ahead to define the brief outline for today, we're going to be looking at introduction to digital business transformation. And this is important to actually lay the foundation to the key trends in digital transformation. Okay, so but before we look at digital transformation, because like many other tech topics in tech, there's a lot of misconception about digital transformation. And I'm very glad that Dr. Olusoji also brought up some of the terms that are usually confused with digital transformation. And he mentioned digitization and digitalization. And this is one of the, or these are two of the main terms that are usually confused with digital transformation. Now, basically, to describe or to define what digital transformation is, I would like to approach it by trying to see once again what digital transformation is not. Okay, So digital transformation is not digitization, like Dr. Olusoji has wonderfully said. And also, digital transformation is not digitalization, because digitization is basically the process of converting information from analog to digital. So now let's think of the banking industry before. Can you still see my screen? Okay, let me just go ahead. So let's think about the banking industry. I mean, before technology disrupted that industry. Remember that most banks they used to keep their banking records, transactions, and ledgers in physical books, right? And customers go to the bank to withdraw their money, and they have to stay on a long queue. I don't know if many of us remember that period of time. And by the time it gets to your turn to withdraw your cash, and you'll be told that, sorry, your cash has not actually arrived. Probably you are in one state, maybe you are in Kano, and money was sent to you through a bank in Lagos. It takes 3 to 4 days before you would actually be able to withdraw the cash. Okay, so after a while, banks decided to improve things because technology improved and computers came, and some banks decided that it was time to improve the process. Let's put in all these records we're storing on paper. Let's upload them into a spreadsheet. All right. And those records were moved to a computer system. And yes, technology is involved because computer technology now aids the better organization of the information, all right, than when the information was on paper. So, but one thing is very important to note here, that the process has not changed. The only thing that has changed is the movement of information from hard paper to a computer. Okay, so that is what we call digital. Okay, now digitalization is also similar to that. It's a better way. For example, after a while, branches, those computers where those records are stored in different branches, there was a limitation of communication. Okay, so a bank in Lagos will still not communicate with a bank in Kano or in Abuja. Okay, so if you deposit your money in Lagos, if you go to Kano, you can't withdraw your money from the bank in Kano. You'll be sent back to Lagos where the money, or where you created the account and where the money was deposited from, to withdraw the cash. Okay, so after a while, a bank in Nigeria, Diamond Bank, if I recall correctly, took the first step of digitalizing their operations. All right. So through the improvements in technology, computer networking, all right, it became possible for systems to talk to one another, such that if you open an account in Lagos, you could go to Kano to withdraw your money. And that was a very wonderful innovation. Okay, so we could call that digitalization, but that is still not digital transformation. All right, so the fact that you apply technology, all right, to improve business processes does not mean that that business has been digitally transformed. Okay, as a matter of fact, after a while, Diamond Bank tried to embark on a complete digital transformation journey, despite the fact that they were the first bank to introduce cross-border or multiple or multi-branch banking where customers could withdraw money across the country, irrespective of where the account was opened from. But they tried to embark on a digital transformational journey, but it was not successful. They were not able to implement it successfully, which eventually led to a lot of problems for the bank, and which eventually led to the acquisition of the bank by Access Bank. Okay, so now I'm using this bank as a case study to let us know that even though they were able to digitize, they were also able to digitalize, but they were not able to successfully digitally transform their business. All right. So having cleared all this, this misconception about digital transformation, we can now go into, we can now go ahead to see what digital transformation really is all about. All right. So digital transformation is the process of using digital technologies to create new or modify existing business processes, culture, and customer experiences to meet changing business and market requirements. Okay, this reimagining of business in the digital age is digital transformation. Now, this definition is from Salesforce, one of the largest CRM platforms in the world. All right. Now, why I like this definition of digital transformation from them is because it captures holistically what digital transformation is all about. And the key thing about this definition is the fact that central to digital transformation is the business processes, the business strategy. All right, so digital transformation tries to shake the business strategy of a particular organization, the business processes, culture, everything. It shakes business journey. It's about rethinking the entire business vision, rethinking the entire business model. Because one thing about business strategy is that when a company is just starting, the business vision and the strategy and the execution plan are only determined by the tools available to the management of such organization. Okay, so business strategy is dependent is dependent on the available tools. So most of the time, when a company starts, all the execution plans and how they run their business is determined by the tools available to them at that point in time. But what happens is that by the time technological change comes and there's technological involvement, all right, now the business now has tools because technology gives power. Technology makes power available, but technology does not tell you how to use the power. So what digital transformation does is that it makes you see the amount of power technology has made available to you. And by the time you have realized that, digital transformation tries to make you now go back to the drawing board, go back to start questioning your business processes, your business models, and to let you see how you can tap into the power and how you can tap into the new world of opportunities that technology has unlocked for you. All right. So digital transformation ensures that you go over the nitty-gritty of a business and you change everything so that you can now make good use and take advantage of the power that technology has made available to you. That is digital transformation. All right, so you can have technology in place, like the example of Diamond Bank I told you about. They spent a lot of money, bringing in technology to drive their business processes, but their core business model, was they were not able to transform their entire business model, their entire culture, the way the people work. They were not able to see how So when Access Bank acquired them, now Access Bank is enjoying all those technological advancements, okay, because they are able to actually, shape their core and modify their own businesses. And today, Access Bank is the largest bank in Africa, by customer base right now. Why? Because they were able to take advantage of the technological advancement, the digitalization that Diamond Bank already started with. Okay, so the core thing I want to mention here is that digital transformation, for digital transformation to be successful, organizations managers have to really look in their business environment. Okay, and just to give one example, currently we are working on a number of digital transformation projects for organizations, and there's a particular organization who has requested us to digitally transform their business. And what she wanted, or what she wants, is actually digital transformation. But what she's thinking about, how we're going to, or how she's thinking about how we'll go about it, is that we'll probably digitize or digitalize. Okay, so, but because we understand these processes, we had to go to the core. We have to start questioning our business motions, because to her, hey, I just want you guys to develop, softwares that will digitize what I've been doing before, so that customers don't have to come, to the place, to the restaurant to eat. Customers could order for food from wherever they are. You guys come up with a mobile app so that it would be easy to access all our services. That's what I want. So we have to start explaining to her that no, digital transformation is not like that. Okay, it's all about changing your business model. Now, like I said, now you have technology in your hands. We want you to think wild. We want you to look into, your business environment. Just think of anything. Anything is possible right now because technology is made available. So what other things can you do? What other things can you add to your business? What other strategy can you bring into your business? Okay, because now you have an unlimited power that has been unlocked to you by technology. All right. So that is actually what digital transformation ensures. So now we move next into the key trends in digital transformation. All right. So also, there are so many trends right now in digital transformation, so many. But out of the many, and the doctor has said so many of the trends, beautifully well. Okay, but out of the many, I just decided to bring out these three, because to me, on the field, these three are some of the most important key trends right now to be able to successfully carry out digital transformation strategy. These are design thinking, we have the Agile Methodology, and we have the Lean Startup. Also, there's a lot of misconception about these three. A lot of people, I see blogs online, I see people talk about these three, and I see that these three terminologies are being used interchangeably. Okay, and that is also similar to Web3 now. I hear a lot of things about Web3 now that are not really accurate. Okay, so I found it necessary to bring these three and to actually differentiate between the three and to see how these three can help a business to successfully carry out their business transformation or their digital business transformation strategy. So design thinking. What is design thinking? Design thinking understands the user, all right? Challenge assumptions and redefine problems in an attempt to identify alternative strategies. and solutions that might not be a based approach to solving problems. It is the way of thinking and working as well as a collection of an opportunity for an organization to challenge the basic and the fundamental assumptions of their businesses. Okay.
Hello.
Now, like in one of the top, yes.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Olugbenga. I think the network, you've been breaking at some point, so I think the network is not that good from your end.
Okay. How is it now? Is it better now?
Yes, sir, it's better now.
Okay. All right. So let me just go ahead. I started by talking about defining design thinking, as you can see on the slide. All right. So, and I was trying to make an example of Netflix. Okay, Netflix and most other tech companies in the world actually employ this tool to digitally transform their businesses. And Elon Musk is known to be one of the major people who actually employs design thinking a lot. As a matter of fact, there's one thing Elon Musk usually talks about in terms of problem solving. Okay, I watched this interview one day and he was saying that how he solves problem or how he approaches problem is that it goes back to the origin of things. Okay, he looks at a particular problem space and rather than trying to disrupt what has already been done, he tries to go back to the base, challenge those assumptions from the base so that it could, to see whether it's possible to arrive at a different conclusion, disrupt their own processes, their own business model before another person comes to do that. Okay, so one of the things they do is they try to see what is working for them now and they try to challenge it. They try to shake it to see if there are other ways by which they can do things better. Okay, so they try to see these things before another person, probably a competitor, sees it before them and eventually takes them out of the market. And the case in point of a company who was not able to do that is Kodak. All right, Kodak was the king for many years in the printing industry, but a new technology, a new way of doing things was already coming, and they saw it, but they could not really quickly challenge their own assumptions so that they could shift. And before we know it, the digital camera came and ran down the company. And Doctor has also already mentioned the dilemma of BlackBerry, research in motion, right? Because of the fact that they failed to challenge the assumptions on which their businesses was built on, they were not able to employ design thinking, and that actually took them out of the market. So when we talk about digital transformation, employing design thinking is very, very, very important, all right? In order to be able to successfully digitally transform a business. Now, design thinking has 5 phases majorly, all right? And the first phase talks about empathizing, all right? Empathizing with the users. Sorry, I can't see my screen anymore. Okay, I'm back. So it talks about empathizing.
Hello, everyone. I think there's a bit of network issue from Mr. Olugbenga's side. Kindly bear with us. It will be connected back shortly.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Lubenga. Yes, we can hear you now.
So, I'm trying to bring up my slide.
Yeah, the slide is up.
Can you see my slide now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So I was talking about, hold on please. Let me bring this here. Okay, I can see my slide now. So I was talking about define. Hold on, let me bring it back. Sorry about this. All right, so I was talking about the stages, the design thinking stages. So idea talks about now trying to redefine your business model, redefine your business strategies to see how you can better serve your customers. Then the next thing is prototype, where you come up with a prototype of the new idea you have been able to come up with to better serve your customers. Then you test. So these are the phases of design thinking. Then quickly, I will move to the next major key component in digital transformation process of today, which is called Agile Methodology. Now, Agile Methodology now is being applied in every industry, all right? But one of the major industry that's already started using Agile is the software industry, the tech industry. Okay, so it's actually built on the lean principle of eliminating waste and optimizing for the whole. So Agile methodology is about, carrying out an incremental or an iterative approach over in-depth planning at the beginning of the project. So the opposite or the other alternative to Agile methodology that was in use before Agile came in is actually what we call waterfall. Okay, the waterfall is a situation in product development whereby product developers develop an entire project, okay, before getting the feedback from the user. For example, let's say a company is trying to manufacture a bicycle, right? And of course, you know there are different components that make up a bicycle, okay? So a company going to develop the rim, developing the tire, developing the body of the bicycle, then packaging everything together before presenting it to the users is what we call the waterfall approach. Now, the problem with that approach is that it leads to wastage of time, wastage of resources, because developing a product to consumers without getting their feedback, sorry, there's a bit of distraction here. Something was popping up on my screen. Okay, so developing a product without getting the feedback of consumers can pose a problem when later on you find out that users are actually expecting something in the product. All right, and by the time the feedback comes, it's already too late because you've already spent time and money to develop the entire product. Okay, so at times it's not usually easy to modify a product that has been completely developed. Okay, so that's usually a major problem. So where Agile methodology comes in is that rather than developing the entire product before getting feedback, okay, from the users or from the customers, okay, why don't you develop the product iteratively? For example, if there are about 5 phases involved in developing a product, phase 1 to 5, okay? So Agile says develop phase 1 and present phase 1 to the customers to get their feedback. So at that point in time, if there's any change based on feedback from the customers, okay, you've saved time and you've saved money because that change is only going to apply to what you have developed in phase 1. Okay, when you are done and phase 1 has been passed and you are sure that phase 1 actually meets the standard requirement, then you can now move on to phase 2. Okay, and so on, phase 3, phase 4. So by the time you are developing the product, you've already gotten feedback along the time of production before you now before you couple the final thing. Okay, so Agile methodology is one of the most important product development practice in the software industry and even in many other industries today. The startups use it as well as big organizations to actually execute projects. Okay, so this is another very important key trend in digital transformation. So, for example, you may want to upgrade an ERP system and find that complications in development turn a 3-month project into a 9-month exercise in futility. The project budget blows out and it's still a failure. The Agile methodology is about prioritizing high-value functions and testing these with users throughout the development process. This prototyping identifies and corrects errors early on. All right. So, but there is still one thing Agile falls short of, because Agile focuses more on product quality. It focuses more on ensuring that a quality product is developed for customers within a short period of time, okay, and avoiding unnecessary waste. But what if you spend time and money, okay, in using Agile to develop a high quality product that meets customers' needs? Okay, but what if by the time you release the product to the market, for example, there's a classical example that is usually used. Okay, you've spent time and money to develop Ferrari, to produce Ferrari, but by the time you release Ferrari into the market, you now realize that what customers need is not actually a Ferrari car, but actually a bicycle. Okay, and that becomes the dilemma because you spent your whole time and money to develop a product that the market doesn't need. So Agile methodology does not consider the market reaction. It doesn't consider the needs of the market. Rather, it focuses more on product quality and on developing a good product. It does not focus on market reaction, which is where lean startup comes in. All right. So lean startup lean is another terminology that has been in. It actually came up first in the manufacturing industry. Okay, in Toyota. Toyota was the first company to actually practice and implement lean. Okay, so lean is now currently being implemented in the software industry, and even so many other industries are also adopting it. So one major proponent of lean startup, the major person who wrote something very fantastic on it for the startup world is Eric Rice. So he said the problem with the notion of shipping a product and then seeing what happens is that you are guaranteed to succeed only at seeing what happens. Okay, but then what? Okay, so lean startup tries to solve these problems with a validated learning approach that helps us develop a solid business model. So one lean says that rather than spending your time to develop a product for a market, okay, without getting the market feedback of whether the market actually is going to like this product or not, or whether this product is actually going to solve problems for customers or not. Okay, why don't you do it in an approach such that you can measure? Okay, do it gradually, feel the market, and see whether the market is going to like the product or not. Okay, so there's so many terminologies around lean. For example, one of the main terminologies is the MVP. So lean says that rather than spending all your time and money of developing a full-fledged product, why can't you develop a small scale, okay, like a model of the product, okay, that will not take you much time to develop and that will not take much resources, just to prove and to validate whether this product is actually going to be needed by the market or not. All right, in that classical example I gave earlier, if the company will manufacture Ferrari or a vehicle for a market that needs a car, if they had gone ahead first, all right, to build a small model, okay, rather than building a full-fledged car, it should just be maybe a rickety car that requires very few materials to build and release it to the market within a short time. The market will have told them that, okay, we don't need this. Actually, what we need is a bicycle. All right. So it will have been easy for them to go back to say, okay, since the market doesn't need this, so let's dismantle what we've done. And we've not spent much. We've only spent money on building the model. Let's now focus on building what the market actually needs, which is a bicycle. So those are the kind of things the lean startup brought into the picture to say, rather than spending time, all right, let's build, release to the market, let's see how whether this product is going to stimulate demand, and based on what the market is saying, let's make adjustments, let's improve on the product. All right. So this is a very major improvement which most companies right now are employing, and even most big companies now, for example, even the banks in Nigeria, most of them are now beginning to adopt this approach. And that's the reason why you hear that banks like Standard Chartered Bank, are now closing most of their branches, to focus on financial or fintech products. Why? Because they are seeing that new startups that are coming on board, they are running some of this model, agile model and lean startup model. Because of that, their marginal cost is very, very small, and yet their revenue is increasing. So they are seeing that we have much overhead because we have branches all over the place. All right, why don't we, become small, become more agile, and let's begin to act like these small companies. Very better with them. So big companies are also now beginning to adopt some of these strategies, in transforming their business. And this is one of the core parts of digital transformation that we see today. All right. So while Agile is focused on optimizing product development, which is the build part of the lean startup, it does not adequately address the measure and learn part of lean startup, which are critical factors to a new startup or product success. So lean startup says build an MVP or a prototype, all right? Customers to the product, come back to your job and make adjustments on your own assumption. And finally, to successfully carry out a digital transformation strategy, you could actually combine all these three methods. So that's why I said these three approaches are some of the important approaches to digital transformation we see today. All right. So using a holistic lean startup plus agile approach, you can test your initial assumptions using actual customers. In doing so, you can quickly iterate toward product market fit. Startups and even established organizations and introduce new products into market should use the lean startup approach. Ideally, it will follow the above diagram, which I showed earlier, where you identify customer problems and run experiments, which is design thinking. Define your assumptions and hypotheses, and clearly define measurables to achieve validated learning from a customer segment, which is the lean startup aspect of it. Then rapidly develop these solutions in an iterative and flexible manner. So you repeat this process until you finally achieve a product market fit. So product market fit is the situation whereby now customers, you've been able to prove that what you are building is needed by the market, and you can see the evidence of that by increasing demand in the product. All right. But in the situation whereby you see that after making all these tweaks and yet demand is still not rising, okay, the best thing you do in such a situation is that you pivot or you move to another business environment entirely. Waste time building what the market does not need. All right. So at this point, the presentation. I hope you've really learned a lot from this presentation. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olugbenga. Thank you for the practical examples, and you've really thrown more light on this. I think we are more educated now on the trends in the digital transformation. So I would like us to please, in the audience, if you have any question, kindly drop it in the chat box. While we also ask Mr. Olugbenga and Dr. Olusoji some questions. Okay, so I'll be throwing this to Dr. Olusoji. What are the barriers or drawbacks that usually block the paths to transformation, sir? Hello, Dr. Olusoji, can you hear me? Hello, Dr. Olusoji.
Yeah, hello. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, sir. So, sir, I would please, can you please tell us the barriers or drawbacks that are usually like a block to the path of transformation?
Yeah, there are actually so many barriers. Before we can talk about the barriers, we need to look at the core elements of digital transformation. The core elements, their experiences. People, then number two are people. 3 is change. 4 is innovation. 5 is leadership. And 6 is culture. So these are the core elements of digital transformation. So if all these are not entrenched, then of course, there could be a barrier. Lack of experiences is going to be a barrier. When you don't have the right people, when people don't have the skill, the technical skill, it's a barrier. Now, inability to change also, at one point or the other, you could find some people, they will feel that maybe technology is trying to replace them. And so they're not cooperating. Lack of innovation. And then you must have a very good leadership. And of course, there must be a culture. So if any of this is lacking, of course, it could be a barrier to digital transformation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Olugbenga, what do you think as well that could be a barrier to the path to transformation, sir?
Yeah, I think I completely agree with all the points Dr. Olusoji raised about this. But just to add again, from my experience, one of the major drawbacks of digital transformation, from the example I gave earlier, is even the lack of knowledge or lack of information of organization management about digital transformation process itself. So you can't successfully carry out digital transformation in an organization if the management don't even understand the process. Right? That's number one. Now, number two that I would like to mention is after the management now understands the process, they need to be able to bring on board somebody who is able to, all right? You can't embark on successful digital transformation if you don't carry the people along. When I say the people now, I mean the employees, those who are going to be affected. Because digital transformation from the business model, the management must be humble enough, they must be open to receive the change, all right? Their vision, their mission would be affected. It affects every aspect of, the businesses. So down to the employees, down to everybody. So everybody needs to be carried along. Now, if that is not done, then that will be a very major barrier to a successful implementation of digital transformation. So amongst many other reasons.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. And do you think that there are specific cultures needed for digital transformation?
Yeah, yes. Sure, of course. Yeah. Go on, Mr. Aginga.
Okay, so, sorry about that. So definitely. I'm just like we mentioned some of them. Culture is very important. Culture is basically the way a company does things, the way a company carries out their how they execute their business vision, how they execute their business strategies. Okay, that's what we call culture. All right. So, like I said, business transformation or digital business transformation affects every other thing. In fact, if it doesn't affect the culture, then it cannot be successful. Okay, so if it has been discovered that the culture, okay, or the way a company is doing things is going to be affected, all right, then that should be allowed. That should be allowed so that the transformation drive can be successful.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olugbenga. Dr. Soji, you wanted to mention some specific cultures as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You see, the bottom line is that digital transformation isn't really about technology. Technology is part of it. It's a vehicle, but it is not really totally about technology. It's the power of an efficient digital transformation lies in its strategy and its objectives. That's where the power lies. The technology is just a driver. So behind this, there must be strong leadership and a culture that embraces that change. That is just the bottom line. There must be strong leadership and a culture that embraces that change. So the technology is an efficient tool, fine, in reaching this change and carrying out these strategies. But there must be a strong leadership and a culture that should embrace the change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olusoji.
All right.
Dr. Olusoji, what are the best ways do you think the budgeting and finance for digital transformation?
The best way?
Yes, the best ways to budget for and finance for the digital transformation.
Wow. I'm not actually a financial expert, but I know that there is a lot of investment that is being pulled and plunged into digital transformation. And of course, with the dollar changing, dollar rate right now, you can't really say, what will suffice maybe in the last 1 year may not be able to suffice right now. But I think there has to be maybe a drive to get a lot of maybe input from the technological world, because costs are increasing. But all I know is that it's a heavy budget. It's not a child's play. So anyone that really wants to get into digital transformation must be able to get a large chunk of the budget to drive it. So it could be in phases. It may not be total. So what I suggest is it could be in phases. And this is what I tell some of my clients that I consult for. It could be in phases. All right. You cannot just drive that budget, as a goal, because it's very enormous. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. Mr. Lubenga, so from your experience, what are the best ways you think we can budget for it?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. And what I usually say about budgets, this is my own standard principle when it comes to budget, is that I see budget as an investment, all right? So when you're talking about budgets to implement something, first thing is the leadership of the organization must have agreed and they must believe that the project that is about to be embarked on, in this case, which we're talking about digital transformation, is actually going to either save costs, okay, or increase revenue, or do both, all right? So if the leadership believes that what we're about to embark on is actually going to make our company better, is going to increase our revenue, all right, then budget should be seen as an investment, okay? So talking about budget now, for example, if I told you that if you invest 1 million naira, okay, drop 1 million naira, and I'm going to use this 1 million naira to do some certain activities, and at the end of 1 year, the 1 million naira will become 100 million naira. Okay. Now, even if you don't have the 1 million naira at that point in time, the fact that you are sure it's been proven to you that this 1 million naira will be converted to 10 million naira or 100 million naira at the end of the year, you go and look for it. It becomes small because you know what it's going to bring back. So that's the way I like to approach the issue of budget. Okay, but one thing I want to say is digital transformation has been proven, okay, to be an activity that crashes costs and increases revenue. Okay, and let me give an example of a bank like Kodak. Kodak Bank has only one branch, all right, and yet the revenue Kodak Bank makes is much more. It's more than it's much more than many banks combined, all right, and yet they only have one branch. Okay, so because of their digital transformation mindset right from day one. So most of these big banks now, they are now beginning to see that digital transformation in this order is a very worthwhile investment. Okay, so they would not waste time, okay, to commit any resource to ensure that that transformation drive is achieved, okay, which we've already seen a lot of companies do right now. So at the end of the day, the cost of digital transformation is very, very cheap compared to continuing in the old way of doing things. The cost of continuing doing the old thing could even be a company folding up at the end of the day. So when we talk about digital transformation, budgets should be secondary. The most important thing is the effect or the impact, okay, of digital transformation to the business at the end of the day. So that's my take on that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olubenga. I would like you to also throw more light on this. So as a business owner, how do you think I can align, or we can align, business goals to the digital goals?
So my advice is usually, the world has changed right now. Okay, you can't do business if you don't have a digital presence, if you don't understand the digital ecosystem right now. All right. So right from day one, anyone who wants to start a business should start thinking about exposing their business, to the digital world. All right. Now, and like I usually say, it will keep going. It will keep becoming more and more complicated. Now, the world is talking about Web 3.0 now, which is the third version of the internet. Okay. People are talking about the metaverse, talking about NFT, blockchain, and a lot of businesses don't even really know much about that. They don't know what those things are. All right. But I will tell you, anyone who wants to start any business now and doesn't know about the third version of the internet that is coming in will not be able to survive for a long time. I will not be able to compete. And likewise, any business that has been that does not start looking into all those new trends will not be able to cope or compete after a while. All right, so that's what I would like to say concerning that.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Olubenga. Dr. Olusoji, would you like to share your own idea also regarding business goals and digital goals?
Okay, yes, I would like to let us know that businesses have to keep up with the times. Businesses have to keep up with the times. So from a broad perspective, it's very simple. Businesses will have to keep up or fall behind. So there must be an alignment. There must be a syncing, or if that is not in place, of course, there are signs that could suggest that things are not going well. So you must think it so that you are getting that referral that you used to get. So your business goal must align with digital transformation, because more and more referrals are now shared online via social media, apps, emails, and messaging. So if your business doesn't have a strong, easy to share digital presence, you could be missing out on referrals. So there must be an alignment. There must be a syncing. Repeat business isn't repeating like it used to. Customers are not coming back to do business like they used to. And so losing repeat business could be due to competitors' promotions, lack of follow-up, communications on your part, or any number of other reasons. So there must be that alignment so that the digital transformation of your messaging strategy could shed light on why your repeats have not been dwindling. There must be a sync. There must be an alignment. All right. So these are some of the reasons why there has to be a syncing between your business goal, because your promotions must be generating leads. Your promotion must be generating leads. Are you measuring their impact, the impact of your promotions? It's hard to pinpoint the impact of some promotions, and even some strategies will no longer be effective. So your promotion should be bringing in leads, and inadvertently, it means that there must be an alignment, there must be a syncing. So that's what I can say about that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olusoji. Dr. Olusoji, so do you think that that digital transformation is fundamental to how businesses create value nowadays?
Yes, it's very, very fundamental. It's very, very fundamental to how you create values. Very, very. Because the root of any change in business starts with the customers. So customer happiness is how you win in business. So it's very fundamental. Now, we have modern customers' expectations. They are being driven by largely digital technology and digital innovations. So your customers always want to be connected. They see new possibilities. So when they see new things elsewhere, they want them from you too. They've seen it elsewhere, but they just want them from you too. And if you can't offer them, they'll find somewhere else to go. They have to find somewhere else where they can go to. So the digitally connected world makes it easier than ever for customers to compare shops, products, and move from one brand to another.
Thank you very much.
Hope, yeah, all right, yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olusoji. Mr. Lubega, what do you think about that?
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so is the digital transformation fundamental to how businesses create values now?
Okay, definitely. I mean, we are no longer in the Stone Age, right? Like someone said, innovate or die. Any business who fails to innovate now cannot survive. Like I mentioned earlier, this is Web 3.0. Even for those of us in the tech industry, right? I can tell you in the next 10 years, a lot of businesses that are around now who don't innovate and who don't try to transform digitally, they will no longer be around in the next 10 years because the whole landscape is changing very, very, very fast. As I'm talking to you, I myself, together with my team, I had a meeting with my team members, last week, and we were highlighting some new things we need to learn, we need to upgrade to. All right, and that's one thing about the tech industry. If you stay for 6 months and you don't upgrade, you become obsolete. Okay, 6 months is like 6 years in the tech industry. Not now even talk about other industries, right? So anyone who doesn't innovate will no longer be relevant after a while. So it's very, 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 very important to survival of business. And finally, we're talking about, I just mentioned earlier that the whole world is now in the third version of the internet, which is called Web 3.0. It's a whole new thing entirely. A lot of people are still trying to study it. Government are studying it. Businesses are studying it. People are making decisions every day. Should we jump on this thing? Should we not? All right. If we don't, what will happen? But if you look at the time in the 90s when the internet first, the internet bubble, that's the Web 2.0 bubble came to be, that produced companies like, Facebook, even before Facebook, all right, AOL, Gmail, and Yahoo, all right. The same kind of bubble we're seeing right now happened back then, all right. But those who were able to jump into the bubble, now they are the biggest companies we've seen now. It was the bubble that created, that actually raised Amazon, that raised Google, and all that. So the same thing is happening right now. Anybody who doesn't jump into the bubble we are seeing right now might not, become relevant in the next future. So it's very important for every business to position themselves to actually upgrade and transform digitally.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Lubenga. So how can we effectively monitor performance in a hybrid world in which online and offline experiences merge? Mr. Lubenga, how do you think we can effectively monitor performance in which online and offline experiences they combine?
All right, so I can talk about the IT, the tech industry, but really the other industries, of course, not every industry can actually do virtual, right? Because some businesses, their staff just have to resume, okay? So while it's of course, the bulk of that drops on the table of the HR of every organization, right? So depending on the kind of organization now, the HR is traditionally responsible for monitoring performance, all right? And so HR, we've seen the HR of most companies coming up with all sorts of ideas right now, using some performance management tools, softwares to monitor the performance of their staff. But there's no one-size-fits-all solution, because how you can monitor performance vary from industry to industry. Okay, but for the tech industry, which is very easy for me to comment on, we've been seeing a lot of remote work long before, for a very, very long time in the tech industry, even before COVID-19 came. All right, and it's been very easy to monitor performance through the usage of tools, project management tools, which makes it easy to track the work being done by every member of the product team. Okay, like Jira, tools like Trello, okay, which have been in use, that has worked very, very well for software companies. But for other organizations, I've been watching myself, wondering how some are doing it. I know a lot of companies have been struggling, okay, on how to monitor performance, okay, while some have been able to effectively, do that, while some, I've seen some companies who have completely recalled their staff back to work, because they find out that it's actually almost impossible to perform or to monitor performance virtually. All right, so it depends on the company, it depends on the industry, and the capacity of the HR of such companies to actually get around that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lugenga. Dr. Olusoji, what's your take on this, sir?
Well, it's not unusual for employees to assume that those who put in longer hours get more work done. You can put in longer hours and not get more work done. So in reality, that's not always the case. Why some employees can sit in front of a computer for 8 hours and accomplish very little, others can breeze through their task in a matter of just 2 to 3 hours. So, but basically, just like what Mr. Gbenga said, there are actually there's a management software, a monitoring software that would actually be used to monitor the hybrid workforce. So you can use the software. So while so based on the feedback that you get from the software, of course, you can know how many hours your employees have worked. But of course, what could say whether they're just marking time on the system will be the result. So if they're producing results and not reason, that would be a meaningful judge of their performance. So there has to be, you need to strike a balance actually while monitoring performance in the hybrid work area. There are a lot of things that are involved. You have to really strike performance. You have to strike a balance rather. So, but I think there are, the first major thing is to be result oriented. Like I said, they have to produce result, no reason. And you can also increase the frequency of check-ins conversation. That's human nature into it. The software is there, of course. You can also increase the frequency of check-ins conversation. Oh, hello. So how are you doing? What have you done? What have you been able to achieve? So availability is also one of them, to make sure that remote and hybrid workers have easy access to get their question answered. So if they have 1 or 2 questions that they need to ask you, of course, you must be available. And of course, you can also monitor their workloads. You need to consider ways of monitoring the work and managing the workflow. So when team works from the office, you can supervise them directly. And when people are dispersed, how do you monitor what they are doing and continue to track productivity? So workflow must be monitored. So I think those are a few ways that which you can monitor performance.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olusoji.
All right.
So I don't know if any of our audience have any questions to ask our guest speakers. Can you please post it on the chat session so we can ask them? If any of our audience have any questions to ask our guest speakers. Okay, so I think I'm not getting any questions from the chat session. We have exhausted our allotted time. How about a few words of encouragement from our guest speakers? Let's start with Mr. Olubinga. Few words of encouragement for the audience.
All right, so I believe those who form part of the audience are executive students, and right, and have a lot of some of the things we said before, that the world is changing, right, and everything now is being digitally enabled, all right. So one thing you need to do is to study your environment, depending on, irrespective of whatever field you are coming to operate in. Every industry, every field right now needs technology to operate. All right. And don't forget what we said about digital transformation, that even though it's not about the technology, but technology plays a core part in digital transformation. All right. So you need to be aware and you need to be exposed to technology. You need to, at least, you don't have to learn the core skills, the technical skills, but at least you should be informed, know about everything happening in the tech industry, know about the various, the various aspects of the tech industry. And like I usually say, this is another misconception I've seen about the tech industry. A lot of people think when you think about tech, it's all about coding, it's all about writing softwares. No, there are lots of non-coding areas, non-coding roles in tech, all right, which is crucial, okay, even to every industry, all right. For example, if you learn to be a business analyst, a business analyst to me, in my opinion, is one of the most important roles, not only in tech, but even in every industry, all right. We have other non-coding roles also, like project management. We have other non-coding roles like quality assurance engineering, all right? So you guys can pick up any course, pick up any areas of non-coding tech. And if you feel you could take up the coding roles too, go into it, learn it, all right? It doesn't matter the industry you are in, okay? You are going to be needed, okay, if you are technologically enabled, okay? So that's just my word of advice. Whatever you do, do tech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olubinga. Dr. Olusoji, can you please also give us some words of encouragement?
Oh, all right. I would really like to say here that we need to think differently about our skills. You know, how we can combine our skills with the new technologies, and most importantly, how we can keep up. So that's very germane, that's very essential, because the premise is that every individual should be able to work, live, and participate in the digital world. Just like Mr. Benga said, it doesn't have to do with coding. There are other facets, other variants, other areas that you could look at. So, but it sounds simple, but as technology is increasingly leveraged to maximize efficiency, many of the jobs are going to become fully automated. They're going to become fully automated, and so that means that you need to upskill. And of course, business leaders actually, they have made automation, digitization, and extracting the value of data, including artificial intelligence, a priority. That's what many business leaders are doing right now. They are launching into artificial intelligence, and they're making that a priority in their business. So that means their workforce must be able to complement the value that these new technologies bring. So as digitization, automation, and artificial intelligence change the face of work, you must realize the importance of learning these new skills for existing employees as their job functions evolves. So at the pace of how fast robotics and artificial intelligence technologies are moving, the business leaders are seeing the urgency in us upskilling and reskilling, their employees. So we need to maybe make it a conscious effort to upskill and reskill. So that's how we can stay on top of this wave that is blowing everywhere. So I believe we can really harness everything that we have learned here and make it a conscious effort to really unlearn, relearn, like they say, those three things, and to unlearn, to learn, and of course relearn. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the word of advice, Dr. Olusoji.
All right.
So I would like to especially thank our guest speakers for being part of this. I would like to thank you for the knowledge that you've passed across and for shedding more light on the digital transformation trends. So I would like to call on Mr. Sani Aruna to speak on our programs from the didactic department. Mr. Sani Aruna, can you please speak on our programs?
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Adenika, for that beautiful moderation. I want to appreciate our panelists for today, in person of Dr. Olusoji Adeomi and Mr. Gbenga Shoduke. So our dear executives want to appreciate you for taking out time out of your busy schedule to attend today's webinar. We believe you have learned one or two things as far as trends in digital transformation is concerned. Then I want to introduce us to some of our programs we run at Rome Business School, Nigeria. We have about 10 different programs. We have our Executive MBA. We have our IHRM, International Human Resource Management. We have Marketing and Communication, Masters in Marketing and Communication, that is MARCOM. We have Marketing and Sales, Masters in Marketing and Sales, fondly called M&S. We have our Data Science Management. We have Masters in Agribusiness Management. We have Masters in Logistics and Supply Chain Management. We equally have Masters in Entrepreneurship and Innovation. We call it E&I. Then we have Masters in Project Management. And at the same time, a newly launched master program. We have Digital Marketing and Business Transformation. Equally, at Rome Business School, we have partnership with a number of bodies and institutions like APCON, CIPM, DASCA, HRCI, and National Institute of Marketing United Kingdom, among others. So for the respective or the prospective students that are here wanting to enroll to one of or two of our programs, as you may wish, you can subscribe to any of those programs I've mentioned, and you have some other benefits to derive. Here in Rome Business School, our master's programs is a double certification. You have a professional master's from Rome Business School. You equally have an MSc or a MSc, as the case may be, from Valencia International University, VIU in Spain. So that is an added advantage for taking our master's program. Then equally, our payment plan is so flexible that you have a period of 8 to 9 months to spread your payments, and you have opportunity of scholarship of certain percentage of the tuition. I want to believe with this or little I've said, you be interested or you might have somebody to refer to take part of our master's program. And also we have some of our alumni doing well in various industries that they belong to. And likewise, we have capable hands as part of our faculties. Those are our lecturers, as the case may be in the conventional university. So we have those with industry experience that will be giving you pure practical or real life situations, as the case may be, here in Rome Business School. So I want to appreciate everyone once again for taking our time to attend to today's webinar. We look forward to seeing you in subsequent program. I want to, at this juncture, return back to the facilitator or the career service person. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Aruna. That's the organizational manager at the didactic department. Thank you very much for that, robust introduction. I mean, like a summary of our programs. Once again, I would like to thank our speakers, Mr. Olubenga and Dr. Olusoji. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend to us this evening. We appreciate your presence. Thank you, the moderator, Mr. Adeyinka. That was a beautiful, moderating. Thank you very much. We appreciate everyone. I also like to appreciate all our students and also our visitors here this evening. Thank you for joining us for the session on behalf of the country director in person of Dr. Humphrey Akanazo. I'd like to appreciate everybody. Just before we go, we'd like everybody to please turn on their cameras so we can have a picture. Debola, are you there? Mr. Philip. Mr. Philip, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay.
Yes. Can we please have a picture?
Yeah, okay. Kindly turn on your camera as we take this group photograph. Miracle, we are expecting, waiting for you. Kindly turn on your camera as well. We have user one, someone logged in with user. Miracle, anywhere you are, Mustafa Tulu, Chris Lawal. Can you turn on your camera? We're looking at you. Kindly bear with us, taking the next one. Still wait for us. Done. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Philip. Thank you, everyone. We look forward to seeing you in our next webinar. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening. Thank you, our speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin, Abiola Kiwumi, Abdurrahman, Balogun Hafiz, Abiola Kiwumi, yes. Thank you, everyone. Chooks, God day, thank you. Comforts, thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody. I can't mention everybody's name, but thank you all for coming. Thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule. Mr. Joseph, I can see.